So one thing we noticed was how well your scenery blends to the background. Then the colors match, and it's just really smooth. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us how you made such a good transition? Because that is really well done.
It's mostly just keeping at it. I use Woodland Scenics. They're basic colors. Burnt grass is one of the primary ones. Mm-hmm. And it's just looking at the backdrop and seeing what color would work. You want things in the foreground to match up with something in the background, which I think helps your eye make that transition and get over the seam. Okay. So it doesn't, it's not as noticeable. Even the pine trees, the flock for the pine trees was dyed to match the backdrops.
And you made those backdrops. You said you took the photos?
All the backdrops on the layout were from photos that I took. Okay. It was basically setting it up on a tripod and doing a panorama, and then using Photoshop to stitch it together, and then getting it printed. The paper was initially called Mural Pro, and then it's called something a little bit different now, but it's like wallpaper, and that's how it goes on. Okay. With wallpaper paste. But the inks used to print it are pigment inks. So like if you get water from scenery on it, you can just wipe it off and it's not going to damage it. And it's somewhat resistant to fading. Now that I have LED lights, it's even better.
So Dale, with the backgrounds, did you cut out the clouds then? It looks like it's cut.
Yes. Yeah, the idea is that when you're taking panoramic shots in different locations, matching up the blue skies with the different panoramas is just, to me, it's just impossible. It's very difficult to do. I don't have those skills. So the whole backdrop was painted a standard blue color. And then I cut the clouds out. Now where clouds were attached to, the mountains, you just cut around it. And, you have a lot of flexibility, and I'd start out with a small amount and just keep going at it until it looked right. And then when there is clouds that I could make to make the scene expand a little bit, like I did in Mancos, there was clouds that were not attached, and I was able to cut those out and raise it a little bit, and it gives you more perspective, a deeper scene. Sure. So, and then getting them up, you basically, the hard shell was all done, and then it was a matter of just taping it up and then tracing it along the bottom and then bringing it down and cutting it. And
so you actually made the layout first, then did the backdrop?
The hard shell, yes.
And did you use like some sort of tool to climb up and do that over the layout, or did you have holes that you were able to get in? And
well, these went up before the primary scenery, the second, I want to say secondary scenery is done. The hard shell was done, but there was lift outs. There's a lift out here, there's a lift out there, which you can't see now. And I was able to get in there and do that. These were the early ones that I did with Mayday and East Mancos, and Hesperus were the earliest.
Now, is the backdrop, is that sheetrock or masonite?
It's sheetrock, okay. And then where it bends, it is a very thin 1/8" Luan plywood that can be bent very easily.
Oh, okay.
And then where it met the 1/2" drywall, I used a 3/8" drywall so that it would just be flush. Okay. And then the same person who mudded and taped and mudded the house, I hired him back to do it for the layout.
You really can't see the seams. Yeah.
Well, I wanted somebody who knew, really how to do that.
Yeah. Apparently you chose right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that was done. And then it was quite a chore trying to find the right blue. Colorado's got a very I like to think of it as a deeper blue sky because you're up high.